Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to Friday's Everton 24/7 daily report, which in fact will be the final daily report I do this summer. Of course, that is because last night the English summer transfer window closed and Everton's summer recruitment drive came to its conclusion. And just like that, the season is upon us. In fact, it's officially getting underway very shortly on the other side of Stanley Park, if you can bring yourself to watch that. But enough about that for now. I'm here to run the rule over our summer transfer business for one last time. And let's start with the seventh and final summer signing, which was broken last night, well after the window officially closed and well after my live show finished last night. And that man is, of course, Alex Iwobi. For those of you who did tune into my live show yesterday, you would know that I was not best pleased about the idea of us getting Iwobi, particularly for what at the time was rumoured to be a £40 million transfer fee. That has at least been lowered to what seems to be 28 million plus add-ons, so slightly better value at least. In all honesty, I am still concerned even then that we might have overspent on him. However, I do believe that, looking back, my instant reaction to the news yesterday was rather melodramatic to say the least. Having thought it over, we have actually got ourselves a pretty good player in Iwobi for what is effectively the going rate for a run-of-the-mill Premier League winger. And he's probably a bit better than that, to be honest. He could be set to be a good addition to Marco Silva's squad. He's a brilliant ball carrier. It would be in fact argued that he is better at doing that than anyone we already have. But like his counterparts Theo Walcott and Bernard, he does lack end product at times. Unlike those two, however, age is very much on his side. He's still only 23 and he can improve. I think his physicality in that position can arguably only be bettered in our team by Richarlison maybe. And after a few games, I think he could well become a starter on that left flank if he impresses. Despite this lack of end product, if you like, he still out-assisted Richarlison and Bernard and Walcott last season, which is an important statistic to consider when discussing wingers. Hopefully that could mean a few better crosses into the box and maybe more goals for Dominic Calvert-Lewin if the service is better. Because Dominic Calvert-Lewin, despite his limitations, I think he's a great header of the ball if the crosses into the box are of the right quality. And yes, of course, people are disappointed. We've got to note that we never got Wilfried Zaha last night. However, it does mean we have saved at least 20 million by going for Iwobi instead. And that money can now be reinvested into other areas, possibly a new centre-half in January or next summer. And that does bring me on to the one major negative of this transfer window. Of course, re-signing Kurt Zouma was always going to be quite a challenge, given Chelsea's transfer embargo. But you can't help but think that we should have had some alternatives lined up there, I think. And if anything, it may be that which comes back to bite us this season. Perhaps Silva and Brands would rather wait it out now for a better option to come around. And maybe that might mean waiting for Chelsea's stance on Kurt Zouma to change next summer when their transfer ban is over. You just never know. And perhaps that is the best course of action now, to wait it out. As disappointing and concerning as it is to be left a bit short at centre-back, there is the silver lining. At least we didn't splurge any of our budget on Marcos Rojo, which for a while yesterday looked very, very possible. At least we dodged the bullet there and the high wages and ageing Man United reject that would have come with that. And now with that 25 million rumoured transfer fee that we could have ended up spending on him is still in the coffers and could be reinvested elsewhere. And surely we would be better placed to get the right man in next summer, Zouma or no Zouma. So let's be positive and look ahead, shall we? And on that note, we will be positive. We're going to move away from yesterday's disappointments and focus on the bigger picture, what has otherwise been a very good summer's transfer business. Perhaps it doesn't quite live up to last summer, where the Blues hardly put a foot wrong. I still think, had we got the right man in at centre-half, we could have even matched it or even topped it. Nonetheless, every signing we have made this summer ticks a box one way or another. Like Zouma, we were always going to go back for Andre Gomez, and that job was done with minimal fuss. On top of that, let's not forget there's a lot of deadwood. We've sold around 18 players, Marco Silva said in his press conference, have left the club this summer. And that might not be the end of it. Like I say, that window doesn't close for foreign teams until the 31st of August or even later for some countries. So still could be a few departures on the way. On top of that, Idrissa Gana Gueye left for Paris, and no doubt he will be a big loss. But in JP Gbaman, I think we may well have got the best possible replacement we could have done, given the circumstances. He's still only 23, big and strong. He could grow into a quality player, I think, in that number 6 role. Many scouts and pundits out there are tipping him to be a world-class centre-half, possibly later in his career as well. So given his age, I think he could really go on to hold a key role in the Everton team for quite some time if he does impress. Then, of course, you've got Fabian Delph, who is a relatively risk-free signing at £8.5 million, which in this current market, to be quite frank, is buttons. Yes, he has a few injury issues. He is, in fact, injured as we speak, and he's not going to play a part in the Palace game tomorrow. But he does undoubtedly add leadership to the team, particularly to a dressing room which has just lost Phil Jagielka, the club captain. And let's not forget, he is also a two-time Premier League winner, and he brings that experience with him as well. Jonas Lussell is an even more risk-free move. He's a backup goalie on a free transfer who is, if nothing else, a definite improvement on Martin Stekelenburg to sit on the subs bench. Staying on that topic of risk-free transfers, I honestly reckon we've done some low-key great business bringing in Djibril Sidibe on a season loan with an option to buy. Let's not forget Sidibe was one of Europe's most coveted right-backs just 2 years ago. His injury issues early in 2018 have sort of derailed that a bit, but if we can keep him fit, what is stopping him reaching those heights once again? And even if he doesn't, and he flops, he's only here for a year on loan. If he doesn't flop and he does well, we get a quality player for a steal. His buyout option in the loan deal is only $14 million next summer. Whatever way you look at it, I think Everton have got a great deal there. Iwobi, of course, I've already discussed, and that brings me on to the last of the seven, and I saved him till last for a reason. Arguably the most important position to address for Everton this summer was up front. In Moise Kean, we've got one of the hottest young properties in his position in Europe at this moment in time, and he's only going to get better at 19. Yes, we were all hoping for that big money Zaha transfer yesterday to be that big statement signing, send a message out, but I think in Moise Kean we already have made a statement. He comes in already as our most natural finisher up top. Very similar to, in a way, to when Romelu Lukaku arrived here in 2013. He instantly became the best striker, even if it took a bit of time to bed him in. And in that sense, I do think we will have to be patient with Moise Kean and ease him into the team and the Premier League as well. So don't be surprised if Dominic Calvert-Lewin starts there against Crystal Palace tomorrow. But the fact of the matter is we now have a lot more competition up front for places than we did last year, and that can only be a good thing. Moving on now to our curtain raiser tomorrow. Don't be surprised in general if the same team who started the Werder Bremen friendly last Saturday starts this Saturday, with exception to maybe Jean-Philippe Baman. And that's exactly it, and I can't stress this enough. What matters now is the football. Any successes or disappointments we've had in this transfer window goes out the window. Let's focus on tomorrow and get right behind the team from minute one, and let's get them off to a winning start. A brief little footnote to the match preview. Everton will in fact be wearing last season's white away strip for the Palace game, as after the FA told Everton their pink strip, the new pink away strip, could cause a kick clash with Palace's red and blue home kit. A little bizarre perhaps, and certainly trivial, but so be it. Everton's admittedly impressive white kit from last year will get one final outing tomorrow. But what about the players who will be wearing it? Well, Everton finally announced today this season's squad numbers. As expected, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who was much touted to become our latest number 9, does so. Well, new signings Alex Iwobi and Djibril Sidibe will wear 17 and 19 respectively. Michael Keane switches from number 4 to number 5. And most notably, perhaps, talismanic winger Richarlison will now don the classic winger's number 7 shirt. Again, very trivial once again, but that final change appears to have gone down very well with the fans on Twitter nonetheless. And there you have it, 2 months of anticipation, speculation, and often fabrication if you want to watch a bit of Sky Sports. And finally, the new Premier League season is upon us. Best of luck to our lads at Palace tomorrow and throughout the whole season. Let's hope it's a boss one. Of course, I said at the start, this will be my final daily report of the summer. But as I've mentioned a lot recently, the foreign transfer window is still open until around the 2nd of September at the latest. And there's still a chance, with that in mind, for much of that dead wood to be shipped out abroad. So I will be still keeping you posted on that front with a weekly report from next week until the start of September. So be sure to keep your eyes out for that. All that's left for me to say is thank you so much, guys, for tuning into the show every night. Thanks for the kind words you've given me in the comments. I really appreciate them. And of course, thanks for supporting this channel. There's plenty more great content going to be coming your way throughout the season on the Toffee Blues. So be sure to get yourself subscribed to us, and hopefully we can all enjoy this new season together, and hopefully we'll do bits. I'll just sign off with one little shout out to the originals who showed last season with their hard work at Goodison what we as fans can do for the team. Let's really get behind the team this year. Let's be positive right from the off, big the team up at every opportunity, and let's do everything we can to get them playing at their best for us. Hopefully with all that we can make this season one to remember. So there you go, I'll see you again guys on the Toffee Blues.